Yo, what's popping YouTube? It's me again, the invisible ankled assassin. But yeah, man, welcome to today's live stream. I haven't been on this channel in 4 or 5 years, but we're going to go live on here and we're going to talk about what's going on. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I haven't been on this channel in years. Can you hear me? Everything going good? Good. So yeah, things have changed a ton since I was YouTubing back in the day on this channel in my life. As you see, I'm in a jewelry store that I own, you know. But let's get right to the point. Kanye West, okay? I would like to say Kanye West exposes a lot of important people. The name drops that he's making, he's still dancing around it, even though he says he's not afraid, but he knows who his real opposition is, okay? He's name dropping some person like, okay, I can't even say this person's name even because this platform that I'm on, he happens to be the new creative director of everything that goes on here. And it's crazy how Kanye said that they have all of the black people paid off. Now, anyone who's watching this video right now, you have a chance to snap out of it and instantly stop supporting, you know what I mean, or feeding this crazy thing Kanye is talking about. And he's talking about, so here's the thing. There's the real Jewish people are people like me. When you want to talk about the Egyptian stuff, if you really look, now, right now, I challenge whoever's watching this live replay, look up what a real Semite is. Look what a real Jewish person is, Israeli person is. It's descendant of Israel from the Bible. I seen this meme one day, and I'm not a religious person. You have to understand what I'm about to say to then see the lie sticking out like a sore thumb here in America. This is a very controversial topic because there are some people, put it this way, if you want to know whether you want to really find out the truth or not right now, I'm going to give you an example, and then you tell me, you stick around if you want to see the truth or don't stick around if you don't. Imagine this situation. Imagine being 8 years old, okay, and you've had parents your whole life. They seem to love you, care about you, okay? They're not the best parents in the world, but they love you, care about you. And then all of a sudden, these people come out of nowhere and they look just like you, and they're doing way better than these parents ever did. These parents, in fact, pretended to be your parents. They never really had the experience, so the success was never there for them. They're just faking it till they make it. But then they have you as a kid, they stole you, and you find out, as much as you call these people dad and mom, these ain't your freaking parents. In fact, your actual parents who wanted to raise you and had you are doing way better. They know more. They're just better parents. They love you more. Imagine finding that out. That's how it is with America, low key, because you find out who the real Semites are, and you realize all these international laws are protecting the Semites. Anti-Semitic, it's not good. Now, I don't know where white-looking Jews came from, okay? I mean, in the world, I don't know. But I know they were in Germany, and I know that in Hitler's, I don't know much about Hitler. I know he's a bad person or whatever, but I know in his memoirs or something, he was writing some crazy stuff about this. Obviously, he was a freaking nut job. I seen a video on Joe Rogan the other day, and he was like tweaking out at the Olympics. Like, so he's a tweaker. But anyway, I know that he wrote that the real Jewish man, okay, the descendants of Israel, all it is really a bloodline, okay? And in the Bible, the bloodline of Israel, the person, okay, is what turned into people like, I would say like me, but I'm close. I'm not exactly right now because I'm like, I don't know how to explain the difference, but I got a friend. Maybe I'll have him on this show sometime. This is going to be the best podcast on YouTube one day. But I'm a friend on this show someday soon. And I'll show you. He looks a little bit, he looks like me, same skin complexion, but his hair's a little curlier, okay? He's like what Jesus really looked like, okay? He's like the black man Jesus looked like. It wasn't like me. His hair is like a little curlier, this guy. Shout out to Papa. But yeah, Papa Canucci is his name. But yeah, man, look more like a Northern African nigga. But anyway, let's get to the point with Kanye, okay? Kanye, what he was referring to now, this is why the media canceled him. Kanye got done the same way that Colin Kaepernick got done. Colin Kaepernick was trying to call attention to the police brutality that's really going on out here. You know, a lot of people don't know, but Colin Kaepernick was kidnapped by the police and beat for hours when he was in college because he was moving out of his own apartment, and they had a 911 call from a Karen that said Colin Kaepernick doesn't look like he belongs around there, and he's moving appliances and expensive stuff. And the police came in there, handcuffed him and his teammate, and they beat them and interrogated and harassed them, accusing them of being in someone else's home for a long time. Now that would make you, if you became an NFL quarterback after that and became a good and never did anything wrong, you might want to change the world and speak out against that. But what did the NFL do about what he said? Because if you go back and watch the original interview of when Colin Kaepernick was achieving success, and they came backstage and they said, "Hey man, how does it feel to be throwing a little pumped up football that we mutilated out of a skin from a farm animal for this perverted pleasure? How does it feel that you threw this little football thing in a pre-designed system for this to another guy who just caught it in a little rectangle painted on the ground a lot, and now they're saying you're the winner?" And he said, "You know, I would love to talk about throwing a little pumped up, mutilated pigskin football thing to another guy, but you know, police brutality and the stuff that I suffered through in college, getting kidnapped and beat, should be ended so that the world can be a better place." And then the NFL said, "Give me that mic, buddy. You just disrespected our troops." And then he was like, "What? I ain't got none of this." And they were like, "Listen, buddy, don't you say that about our United States military who invades other countries and kills on your behalf. How insensitive can you be?" And he said, "Listen, man, I don't know what's going on." And the 49ers said, "Hey, world, I'm sorry he said that about our troops. He's fired. And he's also blacklisted." Yeah, so that's what they're doing to Kanye. So what did Kanye say? Kanye said, "Listen, man, the Jewish handlers, okay, the Jewish handlers, not all Jewish people, but you're not allowed to say that word." He said, "The Jewish handlers who have a vested fiduciary interest in controlling black music and black artists are who control this cancel culture. The left-wing Jewish handlers. There's a few of them. Leor Cohen, okay? I know you run YouTube. I remember when I was blowing up on YouTube on my main channel and Leor Cohen came in, and then everyone who spoke remote truths, not like Kanye telling it all, but anyone who even said like, you know, anything was immediately scrubbed of YouTube, erased, put off, banned. I have a permanent strike. Strikes are supposed to go away. I'm not going to get into it. I have a permanent strike on my freaking channel, my main channel. And that's not even supposed to be a thing. They're just breaking the rules. These left-wing fucks are breaking the rules to bend to their own little perverted agendas. And it's crazy. But Kanye West says the Jewish handlers, and listen, I'm going to help you guys all put it, right now I'm going to help you put this all to bed in one quick little thing. Kanye West mentioned the Jewish handlers of the music industry. These Jewish handlers own private prisons. And I can prove it to you. All you got to do, now they're going to take this video down. All you got to do is watch the Bone interview, the Crazy Bone or Busy Bone interview, where he talked about, because he was one of the, Bone Thugs and Harmony was one of the biggest rap groups in history, 50 times platinum in the 90s. And they were a member and a part of the Boule original meeting. They were part of the meeting where there was these Jewish dudes in the music industry, and their top handlers are Dr. Dre, Jay-Z, Puff Daddy. Okay, so that covers all the United States basically. And that's why only wacky shit be coming out of Atlanta. But if you really know, Atlanta and the whole scene there was all supercharged and kicked off by Chief King of the Booty Fucker himself, Will Smith, and DJ Jazzy Jeff. They have just been in the background the entire time because they don't want to directly show you that they support people like who doing this terrible thing to the black community. But this is what they conspired. 1991, look it up. The secret meeting with Bone Thugs and Harmony. Who else was there? Everybody you can imagine. Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, one of the worst people because they all went to this meeting, signed a non-disclosure. Then they met. The people there were this. Every big rap artist that was out at the time, mainly, or someone who handled the big rap art. So if you were in Wu-Tang at the time, maybe you weren't there and you want to swear up and down you weren't there and inspect the deck. But guess who was there? Method Man. Okay? That's what they're telling you. And he admitted it in this interview because he said even the Jewish executive that put it all together back then can't stomach what he actually did to the world. And he quit cold turkey in like 2013. And they re-met and connected from 1991 to 2013. They talked about what the effects of that was, and he was disgusted. Okay, what am I referring to? 1991, all the hip hop people got together. They had this meeting in LA. Okay, and this is what Bizzy Bone says. If you don't want to actually go look it up and see, Bizzy Bone said him, everybody that was a huge rapper at the time. We're talking all the big artists that was like rappers. Okay, they was at this meeting, and then there was 4 Jewish dudes that nobody knew. They were just sitting there, and he said they kept to themselves. They weren't talking or nothing. So the guy who all of them knew, the record label exec, which can go on unnamed, but it's Jimmy Iovine. Okay, everyone's acting like they don't know who the fuck Jimmy Iovine is. Jimmy Iovine, Dr. Dre's butt buddy, the person who gave millions of dollars to this person to destroy the black community on purpose, and they admit it. So here's what they did with hip-hop, 1991. Hip-hop has the potential to be amazing. Rap has the potential to be amazing, but they couldn't risk it. The FBI, CIA, Rumsfeld, all them, the shit they were talking war on drugs, they couldn't risk black people controlling their own message to get out, and they murdered everyone who tried. Tupac, Biggie, anybody. When Tupac, you know when I knew Tupac was going to actually, he crossing the line like that is when he came on the TV network and said, hey, we're going to invent our own political party and we're going to march on to Washington and we're going to take over their meeting and then start doing things our way. Yo, is there something missing from this dude's head? You can't do stuff like that. And see, that's why Kanye is not making that mistake because Kanye is smart enough to understand you don't make a new political party and then go do the same thing that's hurting you, okay? So let's make a long story short. Like, I'm trying to give you the bits so you can do your research and not trying to make this too long, But anyway, Bizzy Bone said at the meeting, a lot of big these are the most rich. He said everybody in there recognized, maybe you didn't know Snoop, because you were from Ohio or New York, a rapper, but they all knew that we are the biggest rappers. They was at this Jewish dude's house. Nobody knew the dude who owned the house except for the other record label execs. They sit down and they said, hey, everybody has to sign this non-disclosure agreement because what goes on here can never be talked about again or there's going to be some grave consequences. He said maybe 2 of the rappers got up and left and nobody tried to stop them. Look it up yourself. 2 rappers tried to leave, nobody tried to stop them. All good. Everyone else, curiosity killed the cat. They signed a non-disclosure agreement. Okay. Non-disclosure agreement. This is something that Kanye could be saying, but he's not because there's so much you can take out of this. Now, if you somebody who listening to what I'm saying right now, you probably could take a lot out of this and pervert it. There's a lot of out of context things that I said to give you kind of background, so maybe I misquoted, but here's the gist of it. The people who stayed there, they signed this non-disclosure agreement, and then the record label executives and everybody told them, this is the beginning of the Boule. Okay, that's the Jewish dudes who control the whole voice of the black music scene. And this was 1991. This was before Bill Clinton and all them called us super predators. You know what I'm saying? And when Bill Clinton and all them called black men, young black men, super predators, it was all part of this whole scheme. Okay, it was all part of this whole scheme. It was all put together. So these are all the private prison owners who also own the record labels that was there, the Jewish dudes. And this wasn't even the main dudes. These was their lawyers, and these was the dudes representing them. These weren't the real owners. I know better. These dumbass rappers are signing to handlers these days, and their whole voice getting muted and controlled. They dumb as fuck. So they agreed here, two things. They agreed to make music that would lead the youth to commit more crimes so that private prisons can get more filled up. So what does that entail? Gangster rap music. What came after that? 1, 2, 3 into the 4. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door, ready to make an entrance. So back on up, because you know we about to flip shit up. Give me the microphone first so I can bust like a bubble. Compton and Long Beach together, now you know you in trouble. Ain't nothing but a G thing, baby. 2 loped out niggas going crazy. Death Row is the label that made, man, unfadable. So please don't try to fade me. So yeah, back to the lecture at hand. Listen to the shit they talking. They banging Crip lifestyle. Like they pervert. This is the first time Crips was portrayed like in a perverted ass way, like some gangster that just out there gang banging. You know what I'm saying? Crip used to mean community resistance and progress. You feel me? We wasn't like that before. We would like, so after this private prison meeting happened with all these Jewish dudes Kanye was talking about, and he ain't talking about all Jews, right? Everybody's tripping like, oh, he hates Jews. That's the same way when Colin Kaepernick said, the police beat the hell out of me and my roommate and left us for dead. Then they were like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that about the troops. It's the same perversion, the media trying to throw that distraction out there because most people don't do the research themselves. So Snoop, Dr. Dre, all these other people come out with this hardcore violent music, violence against other black people. Now this, if you understand what Kanye was saying the other day, this is the only true anti-Semitic. This is the only true anti-Jew shit that's going on. The white Jews, which I don't know how they're descendants of Israel, if you're a white Jew, it doesn't make sense. That's like saying, it just doesn't make sense, yo. I understand that these people practice Judaism and all that other crazy shit in the Torah, but they don't understand that it clearly says, if you look at Webster's dictionary, if you look at all the documented things that all educated people take as the truth, Semite means Moorish, means black, descendant of Israel, the man from the Bible, okay? It's just because you see the practice going on and then you start mimicking it, I mean, that could make you part of the group. I don't know. All I know is what the education shit says, bro. Like, all I know is what the real descendants of Egypt, okay? We're Egyptian descendant, Moorish. Like, these are words that they don't use in America. Like, they don't teach you. They wear these people running around with these curly haircuts and stuff, but they don't actually teach. Like Kanye trying to tell y'all the truth. How many people look into Webster's dictionary and really understand the history of what a Jew really is? So they flipped the meetings. So after this meeting where they had it with all the biggest rappers, and all the biggest rappers agreed to, one, make music that destroys the black community. That's Puff Daddy, that's Dr. Dre. That was their goal. They talked about it. They signed paperwork. They wanted to get people into these private prisons for committing crimes. They wanted to live lifestyles that if regular people copied them, they would go to jail. And that was the plan. And these people had political influence. These people they own the record labels. They own the private prisons. If you own the private prisons, who the fuck works there? Real police officers. These are real police officers, slave drivers, going crazy. So 1991, they have that meeting. Busy Bone admitted it. It's an interview Shit, I could bring that shit up right now. Honestly, I could bring it up right now, just so you don't even have to click off the video. Let me just go look, because they finna remove this. This is all they ever do. You know what I'm saying? With the coronavirus, that taught me a big freaking lesson about what's going on in the world today. Because when OSHA, it was an OSHA violation to wear one of those fucking masks that doesn't actually filter the air out. One of the fake masks, it was an OSHA violation to have to wear that at work too long. And even OSHA themselves changed their freaking documentation. After finding out from research that thing hurts people that breathe it for a long time, they changed their freaking documentation to fit the narrative. And they want us to believe in all these things, but this isn't an America thing, right? The CDC and shit, that's not America. That's a virus that leached themselves onto America, and just like a lot of other organizations. Okay, now let me look. Busy Bone interview, man. It's Busy Bone secret interview, secret meeting. Here we go. Boom. It's Crazy Bone. My bad.
Quickly after this meeting began, one of the industry colleagues, who shall remain nameless like everybody else, thanked us for attending. He then gave the floor to a man who only introduced himself by first name and gave no other details about his personal background. I think he was the owner of the residence, but that was never confirmed. He briefly praised all of us for the success we had achieved in our industries and congratulated us for being selected as part of this small group of decision makers. At this point, I began to feel slightly uncomfortable in the strangeness of this gathering. The subject quickly changed as the speaker went on to tell us that the respective companies we represented had invested in a very profitable industry, which could become even more rewarding with our active involvement. He explained that the companies we worked for had invested millions into the building of privately owned prisons, and that our positions of influence in the music industry would actually impact the profitability of these investments. Then he says, I remember many of us in the group immediately looking at each other in awe and confusion. At the same time, I didn't know what a private prison was, but I wasn't the only one. Sure enough, someone asked what these prisons were and what any of this had to do with music. We were told that these prisons were built by privately owned companies who received funding from the government based on the number of inmates. Mm-hmm. The more inmates, the more the government would pay these prisons. Mm-hmm. It was also made clear to us that since these prisons are privately owned, as they become publicly traded, we'd be able to buy shares. Most of us were taken back by this. Again, a couple of people asked what this had to do with us. At this point, my industry colleague who had first opened the meeting took the floor again and answered our questions. He told us that since our employees had become silent investors in this prison business, it was now in their interest to make sure that these prisons remain filled. Our job would be to help make this happen by making music which promote criminal behavior, rap being the music of choice. He assured us that this would be a great situation for us because rap music was becoming an increasingly profitable market for our companies. And as employees, we also be able to buy stocks in these prisons. Immediately,
there you go. So what did we learn there? I mean, that's right from a major recording artist's mouth telling you he signed a deal to make music to intentionally help people go to prison that follows what the music says. These people who own the record labels, Jimmy Iovine, Leor Cohen, they own the record labels, and so what do? They buy the record label to control. So tell me what the big meeting is. These are all little meetings that are showing up. Kanye knows what's up. So you telling me in the 70s, 80s and stuff, after the civil rights movement really went down, Rumsfeld, the president, everybody all the way down went back to the drawing board and they said, how we going to control black people and destroy their community from the inside out? This was right after the war on drugs started. So what did they do first? They brought in all these drugs. Actually, I don't even want to go back far as Kanye really want to go, because Kanye, for some reason, is being very vague, okay? He's not really going as far back as he really should, because here's how we can do it in the gist of it. After the civil rights movement in the 60s, the 70s, black people were thriving, okay? We had thriving communities that were doing the best. Wall Street, New York, Philadelphia, Georgia, to name a few, right by Atlanta. There was a city that was busing in Georgia. I know y'all heard about the mass graves in Georgia, but the United States active police force went into that city and massacred everyone. 400 mass graves. Then New York. Did y'all know in New York City that Central Park used to be an affluent black community where there was no crime that much? And guess what? They attacked it with the military and then bulldozed it all and turned it into a park where people just walk through. Did you know that our Air Force, the United States Air Force, did an airstrike on the city of Philadelphia in 1980s? They airstruck a black community that was affluent that the police were scared to go into because they wanted to send these outsider police into the black community that was doing fine on its own, and they couldn't infiltrate it. So they bombed 8 blocks of Philadelphia. And now look up driving through Philadelphia on YouTube sometime. It's terrible. It still is in ruins, even to this day. It's disgusting. Yo, it's crazy. So I just showed y'all, if you just joined the live, I just showed y'all the interview from Busy Bone. Or was it Crazy Bone? I don't know. And we were talking about what was Kanye really talking about when he said the Jewish handlers.
To make sure I wasn't dreaming and saw half of the people with dropped jaws. My days was interrupted.
Is Kanye really crazy? Here is the first big 30 times platinum rappers telling you in the 90s they all signed a deal to make music to intentionally destroy the black community. And the people who gave them this deal were the Jewish people Kanye were just talking about. The same people. I love Jewish people. My wife is white Jewish, okay? I just gave her dad a 6-point star gold chain. Kanye doesn't hate Jewish people. I don't hate white Jewish people, but they have nothing to do with what we're saying, the same way that the military has nothing to do with what Colin Kaepernick was saying about police brutality. This is proof out of the fucking horse's mouth.
At this point, things became chaotic. Right. 2 of the men who were part of the unfamiliar group grabbed the man who shouted and attempted to remove him from the house. A few of us, myself included, tried to intervene. One of them pulled out a gun, and we all backed off. They separated us from the crowd.
This is Crazy Bone talking about him, Dr. Dre, all these other people going to a secret meeting with these Jewish handlers and them telling them. Now, they didn't get offered no money. They told them just like this. The people who own the record label, who own you and you work for, they signed a deal with me and I build private prisons. We all think that you rappers can talk to your own people and send them to prison for us so that we can make money from the government for everyone that we get to put in prison through you making music that makes them dumber and commit crimes. Everybody good? Good. Let's get it. So that's what they did. Okay. And then you see it play out now. The biggest thing they talked about in that meeting, if I keep on playing that clip right there, they talked about people like KRS-One and people who were positive and what they had to do about those people. They said, all right, all the record labels are in on this now. Never promote or sign an artist that's positive or that helps the community be a better place, because then that makes people not want to commit crime and go to jail. So this is who Kanye was talking about, okay? Kanye was talking about these specific people. We need these people to fucking stand. We need these people to do an open interview and let's do some healing. You need to come to terms. These people need to come to terms with the public. George Soros, you need to actually talk on your little platforms you built up. Who else? Leor Cohen, George Soros, Bill Clinton. All y'all, I know y'all ain't the top of the heaps, but y'all are one of the direct handlers. Jimmy Iovine, Dr. Dre. Y'all need to really just, all the things y'all did throughout the 90s, 2000s, and now people are just like, that's the reason Gen Z is woke generation is not going for none of this shit. They're not doing politics. They're not doing none of this stuff. They don't want to be involved with any of the little systems y'all made. Now it's stick out like a sore throat. Puff Daddy, y'all doing these rock the vote shit. It looks so weird seeing Biden on stage with Puff Daddy rocking back and forth. Weird, man. People see through it now. And now y'all trying to use these weird tricks to make Kanye look crazy. All he trying to say is he anti-Semitic. We agree with that. Nothing. It should be a very big crime to be anti-Semitic. It should be a very big crime, and people should get in a lot of trouble for being anti-Semitic. But they can't hijack what being a Jew is and then accuse everything that's like someone who pretends to be. It's not pretending, whatever, but I don't even know how to say this example really, because I know you're going to be offended, but fuck you. It's like someone who pretends to be a fucking girl when they really are a boy, okay? And then they get offended at all the things aimed at women. You know what I mean? Like, you don't got no fucking uterus, but you out here fucking talking about what should be done with a uterus. That shit's weird. I'm not saying white Jews are not Jews. I know they love their religion and all that bubby stuff, but I'm telling you right now, they have been lied to as well. This religion isn't who we really are. Our construct of putting on curly hairs, there's only one race. Putting curly hairs on your head and a little yarmulke and fancy clothing doesn't make you a Jew or anything else. Okay? We're talking about scientifically, just like with that's why they're trying to blur the lines of men and women, because they want to blur the lines of what the bloodline is for real. Listen to what he really saying, and then what is the effect of it? Real anti-Semitism is all this hatred that's in the music, black men killing each other. You go on YouTube, every chance they get, they're promoting to me some other black man did a shooting somewhere, some fake rapper named Little Top of the Gun Face. They don't never give a real name to it. It's always perverted. This is very anti-Semitic. YouTube is guilty of the thing they're accusing people of. They're trying to remove anti-Semitic content on here because someone says Leor Cohen is doing, I can say the phrase, Leor Cohen is doing evil on the world by the way he controls what goes out and what he puts out. Okay? That's evilness. He's cutting out people like me who's trying to speak reason and trying to come to a term of where everyone loves each other. And he only wants you to hear, this is 1090 Jake. I'm a blood from Florida who went to prison. I went to prison the whole time, and I'm going to show you a bunch of black people who are hurting each other. And that's what I make all my money on. Look at this big old diamond chain that was mined by black slaves in Africa. This is 1090 Jake. I'm rocking with y'all, and y'all rocking with me. Look at all these people in Harlem who, that's what they promote to me. This guy has 10 million views every day on all this bullshit. But that's anti-Semitic as fuck. For real. Yo. And you know what I think? If anyone filed a lawsuit, try to do anything like that or whatever's going on, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. You're not going to win. You're going to get canceled. I'm going to get canceled for this. There's a new channel. It's not a new channel, but I'm posting. I'm canceled already. Are you kidding me? I just said some fucking names you shouldn't say. I just fucking said some real shit. I can't do that. I'm trying to bring the world together. They want you to be divided and conquered, you know? Because if everybody feels like they room for the same team, imagine how boring the little NFL game would be if they couldn't get two different colors of people, the red team and the green team, to crash their heads against each other all day. A moment of wakeness would be like, yo, how about I help you to the end zone and you help me to the end zone? Or how about we all just sit here and talk about what really matters and nobody try to crash each other to the end zone? They wouldn't like that. See, then people would start to look behind the curtain too much, right? You know, there was a lot of spooky stuff that happened in the last 10 years or whatever. I don't know what people are fighting for, but I know there's certain names I'm hearing. I've never met these people. I've never met George Soros. I've never met Leor Cohen. Maybe they're pleasant men to chill around. But I know Young Thug and Leor Cohen, look those names up together. You see them a lot together on YouTube. And Young Thug just got arrested for what? Killing a ton of black men? Fucking super predator for real of other black men in Atlanta. She's shooting at Lil Wayne's tour bus. He's doing all these brutal ass things to people. And Leor Cohen is his boy. Leor Cohen is his manager. But how you find time to manage a rap artist in Atlanta like this when you are the head of record labels and you're the head of YouTube's creative department? You control all the creators on YouTube. You control all the rappers. And you sitting here with Young Thug, one of the most notorious accused killers of other black people. It's not a mystery why those people own the prisons and they're only signing and giving millions of dollars to these black men that are willing to perpetrate the music that's about killing other, robbing, stealing, putting down self-hatred. And I'll even say this. The district attorney over there in Atlanta that's saying she's going to put an end to all this, your days are numbered, man. They're going to replace you with somebody that's more fitting of the agenda. Because clearly you see the agenda goes above your head. All right, y'all, leave some comments. Let me know what you think down below. And I'm not trying to offend anybody. I just want to get through the history of this. And if y'all really want me to, anybody leaving crazy ass comments, I'm going to respond to all of your crazy comments. If you tell me I'm wrong, we're going to open the fucking books. We're going to open the dictionaries. We're going to open the history books, the ones that real scholars go by. And you know what's going to happen at the end of all this? If this really does happen and I start bringing out the books and showing you the same things, Kanye, all that stuff, they're going to change the goalposts. Instead of hitting the field goal right here, it's going to be like, whoop, you missed. Whoop, you missed. Because just like with OSHA, who changed wearing those masks who put carbon dioxide back in your body, the same thing with OSHA. They're going to change what the definition of it is. And they're already trying to change what the definition of a Jewish person is, what anti-Semitic is, what a Moor really is. It's crazy. So we all need to learn what a real Jew is. We all need to learn what really it is. And then we need to really take that lens that they're trying to perpetrate. They're saying, hey, don't look at none of that through that. Then we need to correct the world through that lens. And we'll see what's really anti-Semitic. What's really hating on the Jewish people of God, the 13th tribe of Israel. Something to learn there.